Welcome to Ellen's Keynotes Study Streak, Day 5. And today we'll be learning about two interesting remedies from the continuation that we are having in the past 4 to 5 days. Today is day 5. So today we'll be learning some remedies which are related to the remedy which we covered yesterday, and the remedy which we covered yesterday was sulfur. So today the remedy which we'll be discussing is graphitis. Now, the very first line in Ellen's keynotes is mentioned that what pulsatilla is at puberty, graphitis is at climacteric. Okay, I would think a bit more deeper than this, and what the next symptom says, and the next few symptoms that will give you a clear cut idea of how you should make your own landmarks and own thinking for understanding a remedy or group of remedies. So the next written is about the constitution, and that is that it is inclined to or suited to women who are inclined to get obese and who suffer from habitual constipation with a history of delayed menstruation. And there is excessive cautiousness. They are timid, they hesitate, they are unable to decide, and it's like pulsatilla. Now when you go a little bit further, you see that they are very fidgety while they are sitting at work. This is similar to zincum metallicum. And music makes them weep, and they think of nothing but death. If music is intolerable, they will tell that don't play the music, just stop the music. Then the remedies you should think of is natrum carb and sulfur, and sabina, sorry. And children who are obese or who are kind of chilly and skin troubles are there, you should think about them. If they are laughing when they are shouted upon, so there will be a class of children which will always take things lightly. There will be a class of children which will not obey instructions, but consider that whatever parents or the elders or the authorities are saying, they are just they should be ignored, or they don't want to take it seriously. So laughing immoderately or laughing at reprimands is one of the very strong symptom for graphitis. Children imprudent teasing laugh at reprimands. Now, the next symptom, what is mentioned in Ellen's keynotes, is that they take cold easily. They are sensitive to cold air or draft of air. Now, this was very similar to the remedies that we discussed in the recent few days ago. One of the remedies was borax, another remedy is calcarea carb. Another two remedies have been mentioned by Ellen, which is hepar and nux vomica. Now, I just shared that how you should think about making your understanding about different remedies. So we started the graphitis with the first line saying that pulsatilla, what pulsatilla is at puberty, graphitis is at climacteric, and then we see that it is timid, it is very VP type of person. They don't like music, or they like music, but they will weep when they hear some emotional songs or music which goes on, and then they get very sensitive to draft of air and etc, and they are also constipated. So in a way, it is a combination of pulsatilla and calcarea carb. So when you have a lady who is kind of kind of obese lady who is weeping and who is easily affected by these things, in her history you will see that everywhere she shares that anyone tells her anything, she feels bad. She cries easily. In front of you also, she started crying while she is in telling her details. You should think of graphitis as one of the very interesting remedies. So we have Dr. Raksha on YouTube with us in the chat, and she says that it is unrefined personality, and it's a very simple personality. Yes, exactly what I want to convey is that they are very much simple, maybe they will wear very simple clothes, nothing much of a great design, nothing much of a great jewelry, or kind of exotic looking, aesthetic looking, but they will be very simple, just the way they are, just the way they normally be in the home, they will be out also. So that is the unrefinedness of graphite. And if you'll see a person who is a combination of pulsatilla and calcarea carb, think about graphite. So when you think about remedies, you should make a comparison and think. Only then you will be able to connect the dots which are available, which are visible to you in different cases, in different patients from different materia medica about different remedies. Let's go further. It is said that he hears better when in a noise, when riding in a carriage or a car, when there is a rumbling sound, similar to nitric acid. Sensation of cobwebs on the face or forehead. Tries hard to brush it off, similar to barytica, borax, bromium, and ranunculus scleratus. Decided aversion to coition in both the sexes, whether it is male or female. Next we have is burning round spot on the vertex. This is also similar to calcarea carb and sulfur. If there is a cold spot on the forehead or the on the vertex, it will be more of sepia and veratrum. If it is a burning spot, it is calcarea carb, graphitis, and sulfur. Now these are the small things. Now, why is Allen's keynotes important? Now, when you see these symptoms, these small symptoms that have been mentioned, now no one is going to come and tell you that I have a sensation of cobweb on the face, but there will be one in thousand cases, one in million cases, which we will tell you. But you will see that hot feeling on a particular spot of the head or cold feeling on a particular spot of the head will help you decide on a remedy. It will be seen, in most of the patients, and those are the landmarks you will need to create to prescribe. So when you study Allen's keynotes, when you study all the symptoms in from word to word, line to line, you will see that whenever patient exhibits those symptoms or the entire case taking, they will share lot of things, but when we will try to confirm, these are the things which we should try to confirm from them, whether they are affected by music, how they are affected by music, or your observation is that they are fidgety when they are sitting in the clinic, they have nothing to do, that's why they are just fidgety. Kali Brom is another remedy, Zinc is another remedy. And this some vague sensation on certain part of the body, like burning spot on vertex or cold spot on vertex, should help you decide about these class of remedies which I am discussing. So burning spot will be mostly graphitis, calcarea, and sulfur. Going further, we have diarrhea, which is brownish fluid mixed with undigested substances and of an intolerable odor, often caused by suppressed eruptions. Now, eliciting the symptoms and history of a patient who has suppressed eruptions or who have had skin complaints, uh, when they report to you with diarrhea or some skin or some other complaints, is very difficult task. And if you know a bit of probing the patient, digging them a bit deeper, you will be able to get it. It's not easy for a first timer, but once you develop that habit, you will be able to pick that up. Another thing what is mentioned also, similar remedy is sorinum. So patient will present to you with symptoms of diarrhea, and you may be wondering what remedy to give. You may be thinking of some diarrhea remedy, aloe, say, arsenic. This is a very underused remedy for graphitis is a very underused remedy for diarrhea cases. But if it is from suppressed eruptions, you should think of it, and maybe it will clear the case for some another remedy, or it may even cure the case. There will be chronic constipation, like I already shared earlier, just like calcarea carb. So it has traits of calcarea, it has traits of pulsatilla, it has some traits of sulfur. And if you see those combinations, you will be able to prescribe graphitis to patients in a better way. Chronic constipation, stool difficult, large, hard, knotty with lumps united by mucus threads and too large. And just like sulfur, smarting sore pain in the anus after the stools. In the nervous system, what we see, the symptom that has been mentioned by Ellen is that there is cataleptic condition, conscious but without power to move or speak. Sexual debility from sexual abuse is another mentioned further. And then we go further to see the other symptoms. There is mention of menses, which is too scanty, pale, late with violent colic, irregular, delayed with from feet getting wet. So there is a very subtle pickup of this feet getting wet or patients getting wet and getting affected. If you know to pick up these things from the patients, you will be in a you know exact position to prescribe graphitis. Pulsatilla is another remedy which is mentioned for feet getting wet. We also know calcarea carb. We read about it just 2 days back. Morning sickness during menstruation, very weak, prostrated, just like alumina, carboanimalis, and cocculus. And there is leukorrhea, which is acrid, excoriating, occurs in gushes day and night before and after menses, just like sepia, which has before menses leukorrhea and after menses leukorrhea is there in creosote. So hard cicatrices that remain after some memory abscess, or there is a abscess which has happened and it has left a scar or a hardened tissue which is not healing on its own without any much pain, or just skin which is scarry look or disfigured look. We should think of graphitis. I had a case where this lady had an abscess in the breast and it had lot she had lot of pains. So that made me think of phytolacca, and that I followed it up with conayam. So if there are just hard abscess, hard cicatrices remaining after memory abscess, and if it is also retarding the flow of milk, cancer of breast, old scars, repeated abscesses, you should think of graphitis as the remedy. Now I told you that graphitis is a combination of like pulsatilla, some few symptoms, some symptoms of calcarea carb, some symptoms of sulfur. So in the skin symptoms, when we go further, you will see that there is eczema of lids, eruption moist, fissured, lids red, margins covered with scales or crusts, and you will see further that there is unhealthy skin. Every little injury suppurates just like hepar sulf, and old cicatrices break open, eruption upon the ears or between the fingers and the toes. So you see these patients who usually come, they are working in some office and they are wearing stockings all the day long, socks all the day long, and they develop a kind of a whitish like eruption in between their fingers of the toes. So that should give you a clue for thinking about graphitis. So in some cases, you will get symptoms of the mind to lead you to the remedy. In some cases, you will get symptoms of the particular parts to unlock the case towards the remedy. So you should be open to you know access any symptom from any corner and then probe the confirmatory symptoms of the remedy based upon whatever landmarks you choose for the remedy to be. So I was at this point where this web of finger develops eruptions. You should think of graphitis. There is a watery transparent fluid. I have seen many patients who have had eruptions behind the ears, the folds of the ears. Graphitis has helped, especially in cases where it is a watery fluid which is oozing out. Going further, we see that there are nails which are deformed, crippled. Recently, I am having a case under me who has not improved on any medicine. The nail has got very much disturbed in its appearance. I am giving him Magnetis polus australis. So when we'll come to that remedy, I'll discuss about it. But graphitis is one of the remedies which we should think of deformed nails, because it is the remedy which affects the ectoderm, which is the outermost covering of the body more often. And you will see this that there is painful sore, ulceration, or thick and crippled nature of the skin or the nails also. There is cracks of fissures in ends of the fingers, nipples, labile commissures of anus between the toes, as I described. And there is phlegmonous erysipelas of face, burning, stinging pain commencing on the right side and going to the left after application of iodine. So you will see these patients coming from skin specialists who have had some sort of eruption on the face or somewhere in the body, and they have been given some application by the specialist to apply. If it is more or less iodine, you should think of graphitis as a remedy. Now, the aggravation for graphitis is mentioned as aggravated at night during and after menstruation. And as you can see, the relations that have been mentioned are with hepar, of course, that will be the top remedy, causticum and lycopodium in obesity of young women. And it also follows sulfur well. So I discussed yesterday that you should give sulfur as an initial dose when patients come to you from dermatologists. Then the next remedy to follow sulfur would be maybe graphitis if the indications are permitting you to use it, or else you can think of any other remedy which is coming after correct individualization. And if the remedy is sapia is given to any lady for leukorrhea and the patient has not improved, graphitis is the next remedy we should be thought of. In menstrual troubles, you should think of graphitis similar to lyco and pulsatilla. So, going further with the next remedy which we will discuss today, and the second remedy that is very similar to sulfur and graphitis is petroleum. Now, left, right, and center, everyone has been using this remedy for skin complaints and motion sickness. Motion sickness is on par with cocculus and sanicula, but each have its own class of action. I have seen, if I would be able to take a statistics of what number of remedies have cured uh, motion sickness, uh, whether it is cocculus or petroleum or sanicula. I've never prescribed sanicula as yet. I may choose it after studying it in a bit depth. Maybe children may require sanicula if they are of that behavior. But between cocculus and petroleum, I would say petroleum wins the game because this is what my statistics says practically when I've given to patients. So ailments from riding in carriage, railroad, car, or in a ship, cocculus, sanicula, and petroleum are the remedies that should be thought. Adapted to persons that have light hair, skin irritable, and quarrelsome disposition, just like Nux vomica. Now they are easily offended by trifles and just like Ignatia and Meadorhinum and vexed at everything, just like Nux vomica. And during sleep or delirium, imagines that one leg is double, that another person lies alongside of him in same bed, that there are two babies in the bed, just like Valeriana. Now this is a symptom which we memorize for the college, for our viva, for our oral exams. But practically, there will be this case which we will see maybe in cases of psychiatric complaints, or in cases where there is altered consciousness due to some problem which is going on. So run of the mill symptom will not be this will not be considered as a run of a mill symptom, but it will be once in a blue moon, maybe once in 10,000 or lots of thousands of cases you will see this as a symptom presented to you in your clinics. There is a very strong peculiarity, and this is a phase which I already shared with you all, that India there is a monsoon season which is going on, and there will be repeated occurrences of thunderstorms. So ailments from thunderstorms, before thunderstorms, you should think of petroleum as one of the top remedies. Natrum carb, phosphorus, and sorinum are the other three remedies that have been mentioned. There is one very interesting symptom which is mentioned, which perhaps we always ignore, that symptoms come and go suddenly, just like belladonna, macphos, and it is opposite of platina and stannum, which have gradual, onset of complaints and gradual decline of complaints. Now, many patients who have jock itch or tinea cruris, we already discussed that few days ago in one of the remedies, that you should give those type of remedies and you should think of those remedies. But petroleum is one of the remedies which will have perspiration, especially on the genital areas in the groins. You can also consider it as a perspiration on covered parts, if that makes sense or gives you a bigger understanding of the group of remedies. But perspiration and sweat and moisture of that external genitals or is mentioned by Ellen's in his keynotes over here. Going further, we have vertigo when as soon as the patient rises from the sitting position. In old age, you will see vertigo, you will see low blood pressures, you will see constipation more often. This remedy can be thought of. If it is mostly felt in occiput, you should think of petroleum. And they feel as if they are swaying to and fro like an alcoholic person. So you should think of this remedy. The two comparative remedies mentioned are bryonia and cocculus. They will have more complaints in the occiput region, which is as heavy as lead. कुछ वजन जैसा लग रहा है, बहुत भारी जैसा लग रहा है. This is what they will always express. Pressing and pulsating pain as if everything in the head were alive, numb, bruised, or made of wood. So very less symptoms of patients will complain that it is made of wood or some vague sensation. Maybe who are hypersensitive, they would express these symptoms, and the people who are less sensitive or who are more in touch with their body, they know what's happening, and they are also routinely involved in a lot of their tasks, they will be less in touch. So those people will just complain that there is headache in the occiput. So in those cases, you can think of petroleum as a remedy. Gastralgia of pregnancy, pressing, drawing pains whenever stomach is empty and relieved by constant eating. So patients will have some pain in the stomach, but they feel better by taking meals, or the appetite is going normal. There is no disturbance of appetite even though there is pain in stomach, or there is esophageal reflux disease, or there is indigestion, or there is acidity, or there is heartburn. The appetite still continues well. Think of petroleum as one of the remedies. The other remedies mentioned are anacardium, cheridonium, allium cepa, especially when they feel better or they have a good appetite in spite of the gastric complaints. Petroleum is one of the underused remedies, just like graphite is in cases of diarrhea. So you see this evolving picture of skin complaints and diarrhea. This is so beautiful. When you understand this connection, you will go in your clinics. When you see patients, you will always ask them when they have diarrhea or chronic diarrhea is going on, or maybe it's 5 7 days of diarrhea which is not better, or it is just a loose stool. Ask them if they have had skin problems. If they reply in the affirmative, think about graphite, think about petroleum, which are the remedies we discussed today. So I had one patient who had eaten a lot of Chinese food, and he came to me and told me the next day that he started having loose motions. Now, without asking anything, I straight away jumped on to L-Socotrina, but he didn't improve after 6 to 8 hours. There were almost 6 to 7 doses of medicine given. Now, I was thinking, what can be the reason? The He needs to rush to the stools. It is same as compared to what we see in Allosocotina, Croton Tag. And I was just wondering if I should ask him what was the meals that he had taken a day before. And once he confirmed to me that this was very early in my practice, once he confirmed to me that he had some Chinese food outside, there is cabbage in those foods more often. You should think of petroleum as the remedy. And if there is diarrhea during pregnancy, you should think of petroleum. Stormy weather, again, you should think of petroleum. Stormy weather, diarrhea. And they will have mostly loose stools or diarrhea in the daytime. Sulfur, we saw yesterday, will have mostly in the night or early in the morning, just like allosocotrina. Strontium carb is another remedy which will have diarrhea at night time. So in the daytime diarrhea, you will think of petroleum. We'll have many other remedies going further, but for the moment you can remember this. There is a very vague sensation mentioned in the heart region, which is coldness of the heart, just like carboanimalis, kali, mu, natrium. Again, this is a very rare symptom. I don't know how many times you will be seeing this. Heat and burning of the soles of the feet and palms of the hands. We already saw this yesterday in sulfur. We already also know that it is there in medorinum, one of the very interesting indications. They want to put feet out of bed. The same thing you will also see in sanguinaria. So Patients who have these burning in the souls, if you corroborate and find out that there are some gastric symptoms, you should think of petroleum and sanguinaria as the top remedies. Forget the constitution for a moment. Don't always think that constitutional remedy should be given. If you connect these symptoms, you find these components together, think of prescribing these medicines. You'll never have a classical case of पेट्रोलियम कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन माइंड आपको डिस्क्राइब करेगा और बोलेगा कि मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि कोई मेरे साथ बेड में है या समवन डबल पर्सन इज लाइंग इन द बेड. दिस इज नॉट गोइंग टू हैपन. Although there will be one symptom which is mentioned in Boric, and that is learned from Dr. Sarkar, that he must finish his affairs or finish his work too soon because he feels that he will die. So this is a very strong symptom which is mentioned for petroleum. You will find this very often, but not the other symptoms which we discussed today. There is painful sensitiveness of skin of the whole body. All clothing is painful, just like Epar sulf. Also, China has that sensitivity. Slightest injury suppurates, just like Hepar sulf. Skin of the hands rough, cracked. Tips of the fingers rough, cracked, fissured. Every winter, tenderness of the feet, which are bathed in foul-smelling sweat. So you see these patients coming to you, and they have eruptions since a long time, or they will just enter your clinic wearing their socks, and they will just open the socks a bit to show you the area of eruption, and they'll close again. If you tell them to remove, a foul smell will start emanating. That is where you should think of uh, petroleum. You can also think of graphitis, you can also think of sanicula, you can also think of silica, and I would add that you should think of sorinum. So Alan mentions petroleum, graphitis, sanicula, and silica. Going further, we have herpes, especially of the genital organs, extending to the perineum, thighs, itching, redness, skin cracked, rough, bleeding, dry and moist. And there is painful itching, chilblains, and chapped hand aggravated in the cold weather, and decubitus. So people who are lying in the bed for a long time, they develop the ulcers. Think of petroleum at those times. You should also think of kali bichromicum as one of the top remedies for uh, ulcers of patients who are lying for a long time. We already saw aggravation uh, is from carriage riding. The two remedies mentioned along with petroleum are cocculus and sanicula. And during a thunderstorm, there is aggravation for petroleum. If there is aggravation in winter, you should think of petroleum and alumina. And if there is lead poisoning, I don't know how many people of you practice in an industrial area. If you do so, you will see these cases. Otherwise, for the urban crowd, it's very rarity. And there is a very good symptom mentioned in the last lines of Ellen keynote, which is skin symptoms that are worse in winter and better in summer for petroleum. So you will see that these patients tell that for the 3 to 4 months of winter period, I will have bad eruptions, or there will be skin peeling, or there will be psoriatic patches which increase. But in throughout the summer, there is not a single trace of problem. So as the season of winter ends, at that time you should prescribe petroleum in the highest potency. That should probably prevent a recurrence in the future upcoming season. So it is compared with alumina, and if these eruptions are suppressed or something is applied to them during their winter season, they will cause diarrhea. So they will report to you with diarrhea in winter season. Maybe you can think of petroleum as the remedy. So, coming to an end, today we covered graphitis and petroleum, and I hope it was good learning with all of you. And if you have any questions, please feel free, so that we can wind up and come tomorrow 6 p.m. the same time and take some new 2 3 remedies and take the learning further in this Ellen's keynotes study streak.